Hey guys, today is a tutorial for Adobe Illustrator. Recently, I was learning the software. I thought that maybe because I'm not going back to the softwares like Catty or Ansys, I thought that maybe now I could do some videos on the Adobe suite, that is Adobe Photoshop, Premiere Pro, Illustrator, and After Effects. So basically, all these things are interlinked to one another. Basically, now I'm working in an animation company. What we do is that we make all the artwork in Illustrator or Photoshop, and then we import it as layers into Adobe After Effects, and then we can animate it there and bring it back into Premiere Pro and sequence it, and thus we have a nice good animation. Many people don't know don't know Photoshop but don't know Illustrator. I'll tell you as we get started. I'll tell you that what are the benefits of knowing Illustrator over Photoshop. The thing is that in Illustrator everything is vector based. So the thing is that when you zoom into your objects, they don't pixelate like they do in Photoshop. You don't have to have a very big artboard to make a very high quality image. You can make it in any part of the artboard and you can scale it how much you want without any kind of pixelation. That is a really cool feature of Illustrator. Today I'll go with the basics, the tools over here, and I won't be covering all the tools, but I'll be covering the basics that will help you get started. Let's go with the this is basically the ellipse tool. So you got a bunch of shapes over here. So I'm going to take the ellipse. When you draw ellipse, maybe you want to make a circle. Rather than guessing that if it is a circle or not, you can hold on shift and you will get a perfect circle all the time. So we'll just make a circle over here and then we'll make a rectangle. Similarly for rectangle, if you make with the shift, it's a perfect square. So I'll make it with the shift, and then to exit this you can either click on this, which is the selection tool, or you can click V. Then you can drag it over here and they are automatically they get aligned to each other. As you can see, I can pull it over here and get it to align to this. It is really very important and helpful tool. So you go to shape builder tool and you drag along this and you can see that the common parts were eliminated and now this is one complete shape. Then I'll go and make eyes on this. So let's zoom in. As you can see that I can zoom in how much I want. There's no kind of pixelation whatsoever. Maybe I make one eye like this. Everything using shift. This is my one eye. Now I want to make another. But rather than again making another eye over here, which might not be of the same size, you can do one thing, that we can select this. Now see, when I go to select the, because this is filled, we can see that it is having problem to select this. What we'll do over here is that I will lock this layer. So I will press Ctrl plus 2. So I'll lock this layer and then I'll select only this part. Then I press Alt, that's making a copy of this, and I'll drag it over here. So to drag it in a straight line, you can also press Shift. So now that you can drag only in a straight line. So I'll leave it over here. So you can see that now we have got two eyes. Now how to fill them? So I'll keep this part blue. So double click on fill and now you can select blue, and to take the same color rather than going over here, and you might pick up a different color from here. So to keep it similar, I'll just pick the color from here. This is what you get. Now if you want to change this stroke, you can change. This is your fill and this is your stroke. You can change your stroke and get different kind of colors like this. Now maybe I don't want it to be a straight line. You can select this, but I cannot select this. I locked this earlier. So you have to press Alt Control 2 to to unlock this layer, and then I select this and I use the pencil tool. They're also important too, especially if you are using a background with this. You can draw easily with this. You have to go around. As you can see that I chose the starting point as that point, and then I end it over here. So basically what it does is draw a path over here which was not perfect. So I have to do it again. Yeah. So now you can see that I got the shape that I wanted. Now I can fill it with any kind of color. Okay. But now you can see that this doesn't look so good because this is one kind of color. So what I'll do over here is I'll go with a gradient. This is a gradient tool. What you can do over here is pick some colors by pressing. Originally we were on this, so you can see only gray and black over here. If you go into this, you can see the basic colors. But if you want to go into more detailed colors, then you can go into RGB spectrum or HSB or CMYK or web. So from web spectrum, I pick out one color which is this side, and then similarly, I pick out one color from this side. The thing we want to do over here is give it a nice kind of gradient. So what we'll do is we'll duplicate this color by pressing Alt and dragging it, and one more once again we will duplicate this and put it in the center, that is 50%, and then what we'll do is just make it a bit lighter. So now you can see that it's darker near the edges and lighter at the center. See this? Yeah, so that is what we want. Now having done this, now we want to also make a Pac-Man. So what we'll do over here is make a circle. After you have made a circle, you don't want it to be of this color, so you'll make it the Pac-Man color. Now you want to cut a mouth out over here. So there are various ways that you can do this. You can maybe use a pencil and draw like this. Okay, but the better way to do this is draw a mouth. So carry this thing over here. Now the shape builder can do more things than just adding shapes. It can also delete shapes. That is, if you press Alt, it's now deleting the shape. So now you have got a mouth. I want to put an eye over there. So I've got the eye. Maybe you don't want the this border over here. So you can turn it off by first clicking on this, then clicking on none. Now, the thing you can do over here is to put it into layers. So for the layers option, you can go into window and you can go into layers or F7. So I've got my layer panel over here. So you can see everything is in the same layer. So what I'll do is make another layer and name this as Pac-Man. And what I'll do, I'll select this whole thing and you can see this dot over here, blue dot, and I'll change it to red. So now this is a different group. This is a different group. So now you can go into After Effects and you can animate this how you want. Now another thing that I like to show here is the gradient tool. So you applied a gradient. So you can use the gradient like this gradient tool and give it however gradient you want. Now one more thing over here that I wanted to show is this tool. It's known as the direct selection tool or with A. what you can do is, if you don't like the shape, maybe you want to manipulate this, so you can pull down this individual anchor points, and you can also manipulate the handle. See, now I want to make this more smooth, so I manipulate the handles over here. So on. And you can also add points to this. Suppose you want to add a point to this, so you go over here and you can add any number of points you want this, and then with A again you can manipulate those points. Now to put a background to this, what you can do is go over here, use the rectangle tool, and click from intersect to intersect. Now turn off this stroke, and then we can go to layer and make a layer as BG for background and put it down. And now this is selected, so put BG on this. So you see, so now I'm going to put a nice BG. So what you will do is you'll go into the gradient and you will put it to maybe radial, and then we'll use some different colors for the gradient. Okay, so I'll keep it orange. Suppose you put a gradient like a background before you start working on this. So always you can lock it by pressing Ctrl 2, so that you don't have to interfere with the background again.